Oops, we forgot your seat, my sister giggled, tapping the gold-framed chart. Mom pointed toward the hotel exit. Go home before you make this about money. I smiled. Looks like we both forgot something. Brooke's smile slipped. What? To authorize the $28,500. Her champagne froze halfway to her lips. The planner called Brooke and Daniel into an office as I walked toward the elevators. Before the cake was cut, Brooke ran after me, mascara streaked, begging me to swipe my card. But the unpaid bar was not what terrified her. Inside that office, Daniel learned his parents' $32,000 never reached the hotel and the missing money had paid for something he had never seen. Before I dive into the story, hit like and drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. Let me know what you would have done if your sister erased your seat but still expected your card to save her reception. My name is Natalie Grant, and at 39, I had spent most of my adult life being useful enough to call family, but never important enough to inconvenience. I worked as a regional payroll compliance manager for a hospital system in Nashville. My job was built around approvals, duplicate payments, and one simple rule: the person asking for money should not be the only person deciding where it goes. At home, that rule never seemed to apply. After our father died 6 years earlier, Mom kept repeating the same sentence. Look out for your sister. Dad had actually said, look out for your sister, but do not live her life for her. Mom always forgot the second half. Brooke's emergencies became my assignments: rent, car repairs, credit card minimums, a security deposit after one breakup and another after the next. I rarely handed her cash. I paid vendors directly and kept records because Brooke had a talent for remembering every rescue as smaller than it was. When she got engaged to Daniel, I made one final offer. I paid $18,000 toward the venue deposit, $4,800 for photography, and $4,700 for the planner, $27,500 total. I also agreed to consider up to $28,500 more for the premium bar extension, late-night food, shuttle service, rooftop afterparty, suite charges, and audio-visual overtime. But Brooke and Daniel were the primary contracting parties. I was only a limited third-party payer. Every new charge required my approval before I signed anything else. I asked for the final hotel ledger, confirmation that no services had been added, and proof that Daniel knew the remaining balance. I also asked where the $32,000 from his parents had gone. Brooke told me to stop treating her wedding like an audit. Then she sent a filtered spreadsheet showing the Mercer contribution as already paid to the hotel. I called Claire, the wedding planner, to verify it. She checked the account twice. The Whitmore had never received a single dollar of that $32,000. And according to the hotel ledger, Brooke still expected me to cover the entire missing balance. I asked Claire to email me the full payment history. Brooke had not sent the Mercer money to the hotel. She had used $12,400 to pay hidden credit cards, $6,800 for a new SUV lease, $4,800 to upgrade the honeymoon, and $4,000 for a second reception dress and accessories. Only $4,000 remained. That discovery led me to the rest. Brooke had told Daniel she carried about $11,000 in debt. The real number was $68,700. 3 cards were nearly maxed out. She had a personal loan, furniture financing, and several buy now pay later accounts she had never mentioned. She needed me to pay the hotel so Daniel would not ask why his parents' contribution had vanished. I sent Brooke one final email. I will not authorize the remaining hotel charges without a complete ledger and written confirmation that Daniel knows the balance. She replied, stop treating my wedding like an audit. 3 days before the wedding, Claire called me. She had received a PDF titled Final Third-Party Payment Approval. It authorized the full $28,500 and displayed my name, the last 4 digits of my card, and my signature. I had never seen it. The signature matched an older form exactly, down to the pressure mark where my pen had skipped. I did not sign that document, I told Claire. She immediately froze the authorization, preserved the email, and moved the unpaid balance back to Brooke and Daniel as the primary contracting parties. I did not cancel the ceremony, dinner, or anything already paid. I only withdrew from services that had never been approved. Later that afternoon, Brooke accidentally forwarded me part of a text exchange with Mom. Brooke had written, "If Natalie refuses at the hotel, everyone will know." Mom replied, "She will pay. She never lets vendors embarrass us." Then Brooke asked, "What if she keeps pushing?" Mom answered, "Remove her seat. She will understand what happens when she chooses paperwork over family." I still went to the wedding. I had a valid invitation, and I wanted to give Brooke one final chance to tell Daniel the truth privately after the ceremony. I carried Claire's confirmation, the hotel ledger, and a copy of the false authorization in my purse. The ceremony had already ended when I arrived at the Whitmore. White roses framed the ballroom entrance. A gold seating chart listed 141 guests. The woman who paid the venue deposit was the only name missing. I stood in front of the seating chart long enough to make sure I had not missed my name. I had not. Brooke appeared beside me with a champagne flute in one hand and two bridesmaids behind her. "Oops, we forgot your seat," she giggled, tapping one manicured nail against the glass. One bridesmaid laughed. Mom stepped up on Brooke's other side and pointed toward the hotel exit. "You should go home before you make this about money." I looked at both of them. "Don't worry. Looks like we both forgot something." Brooke's smile tightened. "What did you forget?" "To authorize the last $28,500. Her champagne stopped halfway to her lips. "You already signed." "No. You sent Claire a document carrying a signature I never provided." Mom lowered her voice. "Not here. Natalie, you chose here when you removed my name from the seating chart." Brooke glanced toward the ballroom doors. "You cannot withdraw on the wedding day. I withdrew 3 days ago. You and Daniel are the contracting parties. I am not canceling anything already paid. I am simply not paying for upgrades I never approved." Brooke reached for my arm. "Come upstairs, we can discuss this privately." I tried privately. I handed Claire the printed withdrawal confirmation and walked toward the lobby. At 6:15, the reception began. At 6:22, Claire verified that the payment authorization was invalid. 6 minutes later, she brought Brooke and Daniel into the hotel office and placed the unpaid statement in front of them. Brooke demanded that the hotel charge my card anyway. Claire refused. At 6:36, Brooke's first card was declined. Her second card failed too. Richard Mercer arrived carrying the email documenting the $32,000 he and Susan had transferred to Brooke. "We gave her that money for the hotel," he said. Claire checked the ledger again. The Whitmore never received it. Daniel turned toward Brooke. What 32,000 Brooke called it temporary household stabilization. Richard stared at her. "We did not give you $32,000 to stabilize your credit cards." The hotel removed every service it could still avoid. The premium bar extension would not begin. Late-night food was held. The shuttle and rooftop afterparty were canceled. Brooke and Daniel remained responsible for all costs already incurred. At 6:50, the band announced the cake cutting. Daniel never walked toward the cake. Brooke dropped her bouquet onto a table and ran from the ballroom. She found me near the elevator bank. Her mascara had started to streak, and the bouquet stems had left green marks across her palm. "Come back and swipe the card," she begged. "We can explain everything tomorrow." "You did not forget my seat. You remembered my wallet. You are humiliating me over money. The hotel is billing the people who signed the contract, just this once. There has never been a just once with you." Then the elevator doors opened behind me. Daniel stepped into the lobby holding the false authorization. He turned the page toward Brooke and pointed to my copied signature. "This came from your email," he said. "Tell me what else you forged." Daniel held the authorization between two fingers. "Did you send this?" Brooke looked at Mom. Elaine stepped forward. "Everyone is under pressure. This is not the time to interrogate the bride." Daniel did not look away from Brooke. "Did you send it?" Brooke's mouth trembled. "I thought Natalie had already agreed." "That is not what I asked." She finally nodded. Daniel turned to me. "Did you authorize any part of this known Claire called me 3 days ago?" I confirmed the signature had been copied from an older form. I opened my purse and handed him the hotel email. My original authorization and the withdrawal confirmation. The two signatures matched perfectly, down to the tiny skipped line in the final letter of my name. Brooke started crying harder. "I was going to fix it after the honeymoon." Richard and Susan entered the lobby behind Daniel. Richard held up the transfer confirmation for the $32,000. Then fix this first. Where is our money? Brooke said it had been used to stabilize things before the wedding. Claire brought the official hotel ledger. No Mercer payment appeared anywhere. Under Daniel's stare, Brooke admitted the truth piece by piece. $12,400 had paid hidden credit cards. $6,800 had gone toward an SUV lease. $4,800 upgraded the honeymoon. $4,000 bought a second reception dress and accessories. Only $4,000 remained. Susan looked at Daniel. Did you know any of this? He shook his head. I was told the hotel was paid. Brooke reached for him. We were going to combine finances anyway. Daniel stepped back. Combining finances is not the same as hiding debt until after the wedding. Elaine pulled me aside near the elevators. You can still end this. Swipe the card, let them cut the cake, and we will sort everything out tomorrow. You erased my name from the table but kept my card in the budget. She is your sister. Being able to rescue her does not make rescue my obligation. Elaine's face hardened. You are choosing paperwork over family. No. Brooke chose fraud over honesty. Daniel heard that. He asked Claire to cancel every service the hotel could still avoid: the rooftop afterparty, shuttle, bar extension, and late-night food were removed. The remaining balance dropped from $28,500 to $17,900. Daniel did not ask me to pay it. He stopped the cake cutting, canceled the honeymoon departure, and told Brooke he wanted every credit card statement, loan document, and account opened before they discussed what happened next. Guests began leaving without understanding why the band had stopped and the cake remained untouched. Mom stayed in the lobby with me. You ruined her wedding. I did not cancel her wedding. I stopped paying for expenses I never approved. My gift had a limit. Her lie did not. That night, Daniel opened the accounts Brooke had hidden. Her debt was not $11,000. It was $68,700. 3 credit cards were nearly maxed out. There was a personal loan, furniture financing, buy now, pay later balances, and an SUV lease he had never agreed to. The preliminary mortgage application for the house they planned to buy listed only a fraction of it. Brooke called me just after midnight. If Daniel leaves me, this will be your fault. Then a man's voice answered from directly behind her. No. Brooke, Daniel said. It will be yours. Daniel froze the joint account the next morning. He canceled the honeymoon, withdrew the mortgage application, and required Brooke to send every financial document through email so there would be a record. He also told his parents the truth. Brooke had not lost their $32,000 through an accounting mistake. She had spent it while allowing them to believe the hotel was already paid. Richard and Susan demanded a written repayment agreement. Brooke returned the $4,000 still in her account. Canceling the honeymoon upgrade recovered another $4,800. Ending the SUV lease returned $5,600 after fees. Selling the second reception dress and accessories produced $2,400. The remaining $15,200 would be repaid over 24 months. If Brooke missed 2 payments, the full balance became due and Richard could pursue a civil claim. Mom called the terms heartless. Richard answered. We gave her money for our son's wedding. She used it to hide her debt from him. The hotel balance was handled separately. Daniel paid the portion connected to services he had knowingly approved, then instructed his attorney to address the unauthorized upgrades and false payment document. I paid nothing more. I also did not demand back the $27,500 I had already contributed. That money had been a gift. The additional $28,500 had never been promised without conditions. My gift had a limit, I told Mom. Her lie did not. For 6 weeks, Daniel gave Brooke opportunities to provide complete financial records. Each disclosure revealed something new. Another card, another personal loan, another balance that had been described as temporary. The copied signature ended whatever trust remained. Daniel eventually filed to end the marriage. Brooke blamed me. Daniel answered her in writing. Your sister did not create the debt or forge the signature. She stopped them from becoming my problem, too. Without Daniel's income and credit, Brooke could no longer afford her apartment. She returned the SUV, packed her clothes into Mom's guest room, and moved home with boxes from a wedding reception that had ended before the cake was cut. Mom lasted 12 days before asking me for help. First, she wanted money for the hotel, then a loan for Brooke's repayment plan. Finally. She asked whether Brooke could use my spare bedroom for a few months. No, she has nowhere else. She has her childhood room. You always said it belonged to her. Mom called me cold. Support no longer means payment. I gave her the contact information for a nonprofit credit counselor and established new rules. For 6 months, we would communicate only by email. They could not visit my condo without permission. They could not give my name or card information to vendors. They could not ask me to lie to Daniel or the Mercers. Most importantly, every request for money would receive the same answer. No. 6 months later. I hosted a small dinner in my condo. A close friend, 2 co-workers, and my elderly neighbor sat around the table. Nobody had paid a deposit to earn a chair. Nobody expected me to cover a hidden balance before dessert. My phone lit up with Mom's name. I placed it face down. A friend looked at the empty space near the end of the table. "Do we need another chair?" I smiled. "No, everyone I invited is already here, after they left." An email from Brooke appeared. "You destroyed my wedding over $28,500, for once." I did not feel compelled to defend every decision I had ever made. I typed one sentence. The missing payment exposed the lie. It did not create it. Brooke replied, "You always put paperwork above family. Family does not remove your chair and keep your credit card." Mom warned me I would regret abandoning my sister. I looked at my table, where every guest had been invited because I valued them, not my money. Brooke thought $28,500 destroyed her wedding. It did not. The missing payment exposed the lie. It did not create it. They forgot my seat because they believed I would pay for a place in their family. What I finally forgot was the role they assigned me pay first, disappear second. Would you have gone back to save the reception comment and subscribe for more family betrayal and clean revenge stories?